Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Bellator 165. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, there's no kickboxing bout. This is an MMA bout that's been announced. I have Mrs. Melendez on the phone right now. Keri, firstly, thank you very much for joining me. You're making your pro MMA debut. Now, you've been with Bellator before on the kickboxing side of things. Now, and you said as well, you did quote after that bout, after you won your decision bout, you said you'd like to make your pro MMA debut by the end of the year. Bellator granted your wish. How is everything in you feeling about this, the fact that it's going to happen?
Oh, it feels great. Camp is going accordingly, weight is going accordingly. So I'm excited to get out there and do it. I'm ready.
Now, I have to say, you've not got a bad fight camp, have you? Let's be honest. You've got a pretty good team around you to prep.
I definitely do.
I just thought I'd say that you've probably got one of the best camps anyone could probably have to get themselves ready for a pro fight. Because obviously, there's no way you would have just been sat there for all this time doing nothing. You've been doing MMA. You probably, whenever Mr. Melendez maybe forgot your anniversary or something, or did something silly, you probably choked him out a couple of times. You must feel, physically, you've already been there in a way, because you've probably done so much in training to get ready for this one bout.
Definitely, you're right on with that, spot on with that, and also Leslie Smith, I'm one of her main training partners. She's one of my main training partners. So I've been, doing MMA for a while, and now I get to showcase it under the bright lights. And Gilbert Melendez, my husband, he decided to wait until next year to take, his next fight so he can be my head coach and watch everything and make sure that I was fully prepared. I also have, Johnson on the Wooden Man. He's my head striking coach. He's been with me for years. Jake Shields has been around, and I also have some amazing talent in El Nino Training Center. So I feel really lucky, and I'm ready to do this, and I'm excited to actually get out there and do it and make my debut.
Do you know what's weird is that I've got a friend literally across here in the UK that's trained with Jake, and he's trained with, I think he's trained Gilbert, and trained with Nate, and all those boys, he's trained with them a lot. It's weird how small the world is when you're thinking about it in that perspective. And so, like you say, you've got the people that train around. Now, that's beautiful that Gilbert took that time out to make sure he was happy that you were getting the right coach, and by basically taking over. How did that relationship work then? The husband and the coach relationship, obviously, because the last thing you want is him to be biased in a way when you're training. The last thing you want him is him to big you up all the time. If you're doing something wrong, I'd imagine he's one of them guys who will tell you what you're doing wrong.
Definitely. He's a great coach, but he's super hard on me. I'm like, you're nicer to them than you are to me. I'm like, what's going on here? But, he definitely wants me to be fully prepared before I get out there and do it, or else he would be like, no, you're not doing it, So, so he took the time, and he's definitely a hard coach on me. He's real hard on me that sometimes I'm like, I need a break from your coaching today, nitpicking me every second. But, I also feel blessed. Like, everyone's like, man, you're so lucky Gilbert gets to, fix everything you're doing, and he's there watching all your practices. And so I also know that I'm super lucky to get coached by a black belt like him, and also Jake Shields. And, I know if Nate and Nick were around, they'd give me a whole bunch of tips. And, they have they have in the past. So I definitely have a great support system, and I'm lucky that Gilbert has really put the time into me for this camp.
Yeah, he's one of the all-time pioneer, great lightweights. He's put on some absolutely phenomenal bouts. So you're in great hands. I am a huge fan of him as a competitor. One thing I would ask then is, obviously you did the kickboxing, and the kickboxing style of stance is a slightly bit different than you would have to do for MMA, because you have to take into context the takedowns. Was that a transition that you already had in place because of your experience, training with everyone, or is that something you've been implementing?
Definitely, I've had experience with it, but for, once we found out my opponent, we definitely had some tweaks in a lot of the things in my stand-up game that we were doing. So, so, I believe my stance is a little bit lower, than normally it would be for kickboxing. But, every time I deal with MMA, it naturally becomes that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Padilla, she's actually, I think she's 5'1", I think if it was, after I did research. So there is a bit of a height difference, because aren't you 5'6", is it? Am I right in that?
I think I'm about 5'6".
There you go.
I'm about 5'6", and
there's a bit of a height difference, so yeah, she's going to have that lower center of gravity, especially a takedown would be an option for her. So have you then not bothered looking at her yourself? Have you let Gilbert kind of assess her and then just tell you what to do in training maybe to try new things, or how's it been going on that side of things?
It's been going good. I always watch tape on my opponent. I like to break things down, and Gilbert, he's definitely very intelligent in the fight game, and he does the same. And also my head striking coach, Johnson, on the Women Man, he also does. So, the three of us definitely have a good dynamic together, and and we definitely have some ideas for this girl, and I know that she's 2-0, so she has some experience, and she's also a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And I've seen her in one of her fights take her girl down, and she's a southpaw. So, so I think I'm going to be ready for the situation, but I know that she's no joke, and I'm excited for the challenge. I don't want to shy away from the ground. I think this is a perfect match to see if I'm ready.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that as well, because she's got a couple of wins under her belt, so she's not making a debut. But then again, you've got your experience with the kickboxing side of things, so it kind of evens out with the combat environment experience. So I think it's a great fit for you, really. Yeah, because you're not getting someone who doesn't know what they're doing. You're going to get someone who's actually going to test you. So it's going to bring the best out of you, really.
100% agree.
Now, I look forward to this fight, because I'm looking forward to seeing your debut. Because I won't lie, I think from your fights, your kickboxing fights, I think, oh gosh, I'm looking forward to see how she does with the 4-ounce gloves in her hands now, throwing the 4 ounces rather than having your nice padded gloves. I'm looking forward to see how that goes, and you're landing your strikes. But then again, it sounds weird, but I kind of think to myself, I know you'll already have the grappling in your bag. That if it goes to the ground, I think the people the circle of people you're around, there is no way you don't know how to handle yourself on the ground. With the striking, with the 4-ounce gloves, have you, I've got to ask, is there a little bit of El Nino style in you when you're fighting?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I think especially he's had a major influence on me, and I want to. A lot of people say we kind of grapple alike. So and we have the same striking coach. So some of our strikes are the same, especially some of the boxing. So I would like to mirror my husband when it comes to that, because I'm a fan of him also.
Well, of course, yours is clean and yours is better, obviously. But I don't think he'd argue either. But honestly, I can't. I'm looking forward to your debut, honestly. And I think, do you know what? Hearing that Gilbert take that time out to coach you, that is a beautiful thing to see. It really is, honestly, because the MMA game, he could have just got lost and focused in fighting and getting back in there again and X, Y, and Z. And the fact that he's taking that time out for you, that is dedication and love on another level. He's passionate about the sport, but he's got you in as first place, so to speak, in his mind.
Definitely. I definitely appreciate him, and I think it's awesome that I have a coach like him to watch my every practice, and for him to put everything in me, he's gonna have to take his fight next year. And when he wanted to do that for me, I felt I definitely felt the love.
So before Christmas, you're going to have a celebratory Melendez victory, and then after Christmas, Gilbert can get in and get another Melendez victory. So it's just going to be a happy family coming up, I have to say. It's going to be fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got to tune in for the card. It's Bellator 165. The main event is the Chandler Henderson. That's how you'll find it if you see it about, if you see that fight. And on this card itself, like I said, I've got one half of the women's flyweight bout, which is Keri Melendez against Sheila Padilla. Now, I'm absolutely stoked, people. But before I let you go, Keri, can I please ask, can you let people at home know what your social media is, say Twitters, Instagrams, Facebooks, MySpace, Bebo, whatever you've got.
My Instagram and Twitter are the same. It's Keri Melendez 415.
Where you
And
go.
then, my Facebook is my long name, Keri Ann Taylor Melendez.
There we go, super. So jump online, give her a follow on whatever format you have got, people. Sponsors help out, a big deal in this kind of fight game. Have you got a sponsors there that have been helping out in the fight camps, been supporting you in that way?
Definitely. I have a few sponsors. I have Matt Clean, Meal Made, been feeding myself and my husband, Action Pro Gear, Boom Kitties, I hope I don't miss anybody. Kelly's Auto Body in Santa Ana, they're supporting me also. So, my team on the training center and the Skrap Pack, Sidewalk Juice, has given me some juices so I can make this weight. And, yes, everyone, all the fans, thank you.
Wonderful stuff. Again, have a great time at Bellator. Have a wonderful pro MMA debut. I remember my MMA debut to a T. I remember everything about it, the whole trip. I remember all of it. I just remember it was a fantastic time. It's a great memory, so to speak. Obviously every bout is great, but your debut, there's something about it because it's the first time of doing it. Honestly, have a great time, have a great fight, have a great weekend. Bellator will look after you. You know they will because you've been with them before, but for kickboxing. So, again, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me. Have a good day.